And you're listening to what I guess we'll call episode .75 of our new Fortress Fitness podcast. We recorded episode what would have been, I guess, .5 last night, and it was an unqualified disaster. So,
which was even worse than the original 1.0 or .0, whatever you want to call that.
We weren't even supposed to talk about that one.
Yeah, it went down like a plane crash.
So anyway, the point is, this is attempt number 3, and we're not going to call it official episode number 1 because we're still learning what we're doing here. But anyway, the whole point is we're trying to put together a podcast that we can put out at least once a week or so, maybe more often depending on how this goes, to disseminate as much information as possible to make your class experience the best it can possibly be.
Well, not even just class experience. I mean, obviously, I think
I don't care about their lives outside of here.
But they do. We have to make it sound good for them.
Fine. All right. So we want to make your whole life experience the best it can possibly be.
Trying to get you jacked and tan, son.
Did he really just say that?
Yep.
Or
I flexed on them too, but they can't see it because it's a podcast.
Okay. Moving on. So, anyway, the more information you have, the more knowledge you have, the better prepared you come into class, the better results you're going to get in class, and the better results you're going to get through your diet and the rest of your life. We don't want you to come to class and just burn 200 measly calories when, if you do things right and follow the plan, you could leave burning 600 plus calories, right? So that's kind of our mission here, right? Like I said, make your experience better. So, like squared or cubed or okay, we don't want to get crazy.
Yeah, so, we don't really get into algebra or anything
like that. We don't want your life to be that good.
No calculus.
Not that good. All right. So, what was next, Justin?
Well, I mean, basically, I think where we're going with this is we're going to kind of introduce ourselves and our backgrounds that we have going on here. That will also hopefully open this up for questions. Bill's having a spasm over here, and it's kind of distracting me. So if I sound off, this is...
Okay, look, so we're filming. Sorry. We're recording this podcast in my office, so we've got background noise from the computer fans. Every time we touch the table, you can probably hear that, and that's just a light touch. So I'm at least trying not to be too distracting with the background noise that I make. So that's why I'm having a spasm.
He's having to come apart, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, moving on. Where were we? See, this is why I'm not calling this episode number 1, because
this is probably not going to make it to be published either.
Neither of us has any clue what we're doing. Anyway. All right. Okay, so Justin was talking about our backgrounds. So the whole thing is you're going to get different advice, depending on the person you ask. Now, it may not necessarily be conflicting advice, right? It's just different advice. Everybody comes from a different background. Everybody has different experiences. Everybody has different body types. Everybody has different philosophical outlooks. So you have to find something that works for you. There's no one workout. There's no one diet. There's no one lifestyle that is necessarily going to work for everybody. You can't put a square peg in a round hole.
No, and I wholeheartly agree. The best one for you is going to be the one that you're going to stick with, no matter what that is.
So that's why backgrounds and experiences can be important when you think about where you want to get your advice, right, and what you're going to follow. So on one of our failed podcasts, right, Justin hit me with a CNN type ambush interview. So we're gonna skip that, and I'm not gonna let him pull an ambush interview again. So we'll go really quick into our backgrounds. For those of you that don't know, I started training martial arts back in '96. It wasn't my first experience with the martial arts. I had trained when I was a kid, and I always swore when I got older and I had the money that I was going to get back into it. And I was waiting for a space actually at UT in the nursing program, and I started taking martial arts, and the next thing you know, 3 months later, the instructor there said, you should be an instructor. And I was like, heck yeah! And nursing and everything else went out the window.
Napoleon Dynamite moment.
Exactly. And that's where what I've been doing since then. My friend and I opened up our own facility in Jefferson City in 1999, and I've been doing this pretty much full-time ever since. So that's my martial arts background, and I had taught what we called cardio kickboxing back when I trained in Knoxville, and that was back at the height of the Taibo phase. We had a brief flirtation with cardio kickboxing when we had our facility in Jefferson City, but we used an outside instructor, and it really did not go well. So I was like, forget this, we're not going to do it anymore. Then back in 2011, I had so many people asking for it, we brought it back, and the program's been pretty successful ever since then. All right, Justin, you want to go ahead and fill us in a little on your... Actually, does anybody really want to hear Justin's background?
They may not. I mean, I don't really want to.
That's okay. Go ahead. We'll do it anyway. I can always cut it out later.
As far as martial arts, I actually started here at this location when they opened up, probably just a couple of months afterwards, in August of 2007. So about 11 years now. At the time when I started, about probably 3 or 4 months before that, I had just ventured on the beginning of my weight loss journey. When I started, I was a portly young man, and by portly I mean,
I was gonna say, let's be honest here. Tell them what you weighed, Justin.
I weighed 307 pounds when I started. So yeah, I was definitely I was a good sized boy. I'm sure there's pictures roaming somewhere that I hope have been burnt. Please don't ask for any. If you ask my mom, she'll gladly show them to you. But I'm not trying to dwell
I've got some
into
good
that,
ones.
So
for the right price, I'll be
wow.
happy to share. So keep that in mind.
Oh Lord. Anyway, so once I started here, mainly in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu program, and then moving on to mixed martial arts with Bill, I decided, even though I was flexible and I was somewhat swift for a bigger guy, I didn't want to have to get punched in the face by guys who were much, much larger than me. So I then, at the time, I was in a relationship, and the girl's father actually was the one who introduced me into the Atkins diet, which was the low carb kind of craze back then. And I attempted it the first time, and I failed miserably. Like, went 3 days and just was like, I can't do this. This sucks. Basically the same way that everybody does when they start a diet. But I watched him, and he would lose. He would lose 70, 80 pounds at a time, and would look fantastic. Be feeling great, and then all of a sudden he would go back to eating, a lot of processed food, a lot of refined carbs and stuff like that, and then he would balloon back up. So. Once I started here, my thought process was, okay, obviously it seems to be working, but what happens if someone just keeps doing it and just doesn't go right back to eating that? So over the course of the years there, I have been as low as 171.4 pounds. I only know that because that's how much I weighed dehydrated to fight. So, almost, if you really want to throw that, I don't really count that, but as far as walking around weight, I've been as low as 176. So, 130 pounds there. My focus since then has been to try to put on muscle mass. I personally right now I walk around about 187-ish, I think is what I weighed this morning. So yeah. And of course, I'm a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've had a couple of amateur mixed martial arts fights. And that's pretty well my background as far as that. So, all of which apparently Bill says doesn't matter.
Are you done? I'm sorry, I was.
Did you take a nap?
Yeah, I
Cool.
took a little nap. Okay, all right. So now you've heard a little bit about our background. So hopefully that fills you in if you didn't already know any of that information. So again, if you're looking to lose large amounts of weight, then obviously Justin can speak from his personal experience. All right, and he's somebody you can relate to. All right, as far as weight loss is concerned. I don't want to sit here and start saying over and over again. So, do we want to say anything else on this one, or is this where we want to start telling people to give us questions?
Well, we totally want questions, but I tell you what, just so that way they can get an idea also where we're coming from. How about this? So right now, as far as what does your training look like? Like what is your training, and what is your like nutritional philosophy that you have going on right now in your life?
All right, I will say that right now I am probably in the worst shape. I'm making noise again. The worst shape I have been in the past. Well, let's just say long time.
But to be fair, you had surgery in December. To be fair, you had surgery and you were out for a while.
Yeah, well, I was out a little bit before the surgery because the pain of the hernias had gotten to the point where I didn't want to do burpees. I didn't want to lift. I didn't want to run. I didn't want to do anything.
But again, to your credit, you did an entire obstacle course season, maybe a season and a half, while having this problem. So you gutted it out. You were a trooper.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I should not have put the surgery off as long as I did. Right? I was chastised by the surgeon because basically he said my insides were a mess. Right? So then after the surgery, well, it was pretty painful. So again, I didn't want to do anything. And then after having a couple of months off, it was really hard to get back in the loop. So I've gained a little bit, not a lot, but I gained a little bit of sympathy as far as what it's like to get started. Because that's, to me, that is always, I think, if not the toughest part, it's one of the toughest parts. It's actually getting started, getting on a roll, and being consistent.
Getting that momentum going.
Yeah, because what kills most people is consistency. You'll have a good couple of days, you'll have a good couple of weeks. Sometimes, shoot, you may even have a good month, and then, you have that train wreck, you fall off the tracks, all right, and there's like massive disaster. So, having said that, again, like I said, I think I've gained a little more sympathy than I might have had in the past. So my training and what I have always preferred myself, I came up with old school training in my original martial arts school, and my weightlifting training was pretty old school as well. The pretty typical either 3 sets of heavy weights, medium reps, and then moving on to something else, or doing the old school pyramid, low weight, high weight, then back down. And I think my training has evolved considerably over the years, where it's now a lot like what you see in kickboxing class, a mix of high intensity interval training mixed in with some different types of weightlifting. But that's pretty much my routine right now. So Justin, you want to talk about your?
You didn't.
What did I leave out?
You didn't do diet. You didn't do what is your take right now diet wise? Like
my take on diet is still pretty much the same as it's always been. I don't believe in complex diets. I don't believe in diets that are extremely difficult, because the average person is just not going to stick to them. Most people just do not have the discipline, right, or the drive that it takes to stick to whether it's a starvation diet, which obviously is not something you necessarily want to do, or like I said, any type of complex diet. I have always gone with the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time eat clean, 20% of the time pretty much eat what you want, as long as you're careful. Your 80%, like I said, needs to be clean. You don't put your Oreos in 80%. All right, you don't put your McDonald's double quarter pounder with cheese in your 80%. You don't put your movie popcorn in your 80%. But again, that's always been my diet philosophy. Whereas Justin here will go ahead and give you his complicated macro / count crazy.
Actually, no. Right now, what I have going on isn't really all that complicated. Over the years, my dieting has evolved. Also, my training. I still obviously train the mixed martial arts. So I get the Muay Thai, the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and all the grappling and striking like that with my guys over on the other side of the room. But I also, once upon a time when I first started, I probably really started taking the strength and conditioning aspect more seriously, probably about 2012, and I've always been one of those because other than here, I was like, man, I didn't really want to spend a whole lot of money on another gym membership. So I've always been a big fan of the calisthenics and stuff like that, and I feel like that you can get very strong even with your body weight, and you are going to need weights for some certain aspects, but I have evolved from mainly a lot of like metabolic conditioning.
We know all these ladies want man arms.
I mean, that's only if they take steroids.
You totally missed the joke there.
I know. They're not going to get man arms though.
I know, but you missed the joke. You like ran with it like it was
totally. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted. But it would be a lot like what I've had some of you guys on the days that I have taught kickboxing, sometimes on the weekend, and I've kind of done a couple of class plans at the end where if any of you guys have done like the 5 push-ups, 5 sit-ups, get up, do 5 squats, and you keep doing that in a roundabout circle for like say 3 minutes at the end of the class. That was generally not for 3 minutes, obviously. It would have been a much longer workout because that was my entire prolonged workout, and I came from that. And obviously sprints and Tabata intervals, which Tabata intervals, for those of you that don't know, that's like when Bill has you guys do the 20-second on, 10-second off part of class with your push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. And I got those from him from mixed martial arts classes, and I mean they worked. Right now, my training has come down to not to be confused with what Bill was talking about with high intensity interval training, but I'm doing what's considered high intensity training. It's usually only 1 or 2 sets. But it is to failure. I've been doing that with a lot of pulling, pushing, and squatting movements, and I feel like I've actually saw quite a bit of success with some of my body recomposition goals that I've had. And as far as diet goes, I've been very much so a fan of the low carb diet because that's really what brought me to the dance. I then moved on to a paleo diet, which did include a little more carbs as far as like along as, sometimes some fruit, some potatoes, some sweet potatoes, stuff like that. But I have since then moved on from that, and which I don't even think Bill knows this. So this is going to be kind of like one of those things. Last month and probably since February, I've been tinkering with it in a cyclical form. But last month, I did an experiment where I did 30 days of all meat, a.k.a. a la Sean Baker's carnivore diet. And to be honest with you, I had really good results. When we left for New York, we ate New York food and had lots of good stuff like that. And then my birthday came along, and we had lots of cake and whatnot. So I got up to around right at 200 pounds. And so obviously I've got all that bloat and everything back off of me since that amount of time, and I feel like I've kind of shrunk down and even improved body composition a little bit. And as far as for me, it's not very complicated because being a single man, I can throw a pound of steak on the George Foreman grill. I can eat it. If I'm still hungry, I'll throw some more steak on there, and I'll keep going. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Although since my 30 days is up, I'm going back to my Saturday cheat
far
days.
As keeping going is concerned, ask me about the beef brisket story, and I'll fill you in on Justin and the brisket.
That may have to be our next. That may have to be definitely somebody asked that. Somebody just randomly asked that question, so that way it has to be a topic on the next podcast.
I literally think Justin may have broken a world record, but I digress. Go ahead, Justin.
But that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I said, I do my 6 days a week of hard dieting, and I feel like I probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like what Bill said, Pareto principle with it. As long as 80% of the time that I'm doing what I need to be doing, which is mainly I feel like keeping my protein levels very high. I try to keep protein as my highest macro, and then I try to keep obviously my carbs at 0, and I'm trying to limit my fat as well. So that right there, that way I can kind of obviously lose some more body fat. Try to get beach ready and whatnot. Try to look good out there and sing it, tan and jacked. So
I don't know about you guys. Does anybody else head hurt after hearing that little speech? So when I hear stuff like macros and people's names, my eyes start to glass over. So don't give me that look. Just kidding.
I'm going to strangle him with this 9-foot long microphone wire.
So in future podcasts, the whole idea is we'll talk a little bit more about, in some depth, we'll talk about what the heck he and I are talking about when he says macros, all right? When he throws out all these people's names, diets, blah blah, words, blah.
I mean, we're going to give you guys resources. We're wanting to be a no nonsense, like no BS type of resource for you guys to really help you reach your goals and get where you're wanting to go.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. I've played around a little bit with some intermittent fasting, right, and had some good results there when I did it. So we'll talk about a bunch of these things in the future. So we are already at 22 minutes, and I'm going to guess that approximately nobody has made it this far. So if you did, miracle of all miracles, make it this far, and you...
If you did, like, sneak and tell me, because, like, no one's going to know unless they make it to the end, and, like, I'll secretly stamp your Fortress Kickboxing bingo thing without Bill knowing it.
Okay.
Like, the hardest one, like the 50 burpees one or something. We'll cheat.
No.
Cheat to win. Cheat to win.
That is actually not going to happen, and if it does happen, I will hurt everybody involved. But if you are listening to this, keep it to yourself, all right? Come see me, and the first 2 people that come and see me, if you actually listen to this, I will give you one of the new, what are those colors? I think it's coral, or what do you call it?
There's a really nice like mint green out there too.
No, I don't have more than one of those. So I've got some coral and some, I guess, lavenderish colored t-shirts. I'll give you a free one of those if you listened this far, because obviously...
Are you going to count?
Need to be rewarded for being.
Does it have to be in person, or are you going to? Is it like text message or Facebook message count as well?
You can message me in private, but just let me know that you actually, for some ungodly reason, listened to
our ramblings.
22 minutes of the 2 of us talking about nothing. So yeah, if you made it this far, you deserve a free freaking t-shirt. All right, so message or let me know, and I will take care of you. And then give us some questions so that the next time maybe we don't have to ramble incoherently about a bunch of stuff you don't care about.
Well, definitely, we want to talk about what you guys want to hear about.
We can try to make it a little more interesting. So that's all I've got to say. Justin, anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I will finish up by saying the obstacle racing season is about to get started in earnest. At the beginning of the year, we were kind of up in the air about how many races we were going to do, what races we are going to do, because I am more than mildly disgusted with Spartan race at this point. So I wanted to get in my first Spartan of the season before I decide how many of those we're going to do, and then how much we're going to throw towards Tough Mudder and Savage. But if you're interested in joining us for any races this year, please let us know so we can get you in on the training loop and start showing you on the calendar some of the races we are definitely leaning towards for the rest of the year. So you can plan ahead, we can plan ahead, all right, and figure out transportation and other things.
And I feel like I speak for everyone when we encourage everyone to do that. And also to preface this, because I know we get this a lot when people try to come out for their first time with a race and they're like, oh, you guys are going to take off and leave us. No, we treat this like we went down in a plane crash out in the woods. We all come in together. We all go out together. If you decide that you want to do one of these races, we will make sure that you get through it. We all, like I said, all together.
I'm not going to go that far. If we get attacked by wolves or wild bears or something, I will leave you behind. But if it's just obstacles, yeah, we'll stick with you. We'll
only
you
if
over
wild
that.
animals are involved.
I don't want to get eaten by a wolf, and I will definitely. I know I can run faster than you, so I will definitely sacrifice you to.
But if I trip you, that doesn't matter.
You're not going to trip me, though. See, that's the thing. You're no ninja, Justin. You're no ninja, right? So again, don't throw us this excuse. I'm not ready. All right, we definitely don't want to hear that anymore. You don't have to be ready to do one of these races. Understand, we do not run.
No, we hate running. That's why I learned to fight, and that's why I carry a gun, so I don't have to run from things.
I can run. I don't like to run.
Nope.
We do not run.
Nope.
So you come to the race with us. All right. We might have some periods of some light jogging, but most of the time it is a power hike, and we go and we enjoy the obstacles. You do not have to be ready. All right. We will get you over them. Most people, it took them. Some people, it took 2 or 3 seasons before they were able to climb the rope. A couple of seasons before they were able to do the monkey bars. A couple of seasons before they were able to get over, say, a 7-foot wall by themselves. So do not let that hold you back. The best way to learn is by doing.
I mean, I literally been doing them for almost 4 years, and I just now finally got to the point. And even then, there's still some obstacles that give me trouble. So
yeah, so don't.
Bill's Superman. He gets them all. So don't listen to him.
All I'm saying is don't make excuses. Just come out and have fun with us. That's all you got to do. All right. So unless Justin has anything else to say, we're going to wrap this thing up at, good grief, almost 30 minutes. Anything else, Justin?
No, I'm good. Everybody have a good rest of the day.
All right, yeah. Get us your questions.
Somebody message Bill, get those shirts. Get you some free swag.
And like I said, if you did listen to all this,
should there be like a code word? Should there be like a phrase at the end of this? Like they have to like send you New England clam chowder. Like that right there is the exact phrase they have to like either send or like walk up and say, like a password. Like in a
see, now here the question is, they may have listened all the way through to, but that was 5 minutes ago. They may have gotten the T-shirt part and then totally given up.
Well, that's why we do the secret password now. So maybe we should do
New
England clam chowder.
Throw in the secret which Justin's already said is New England clam chowder, and I will also get you a glove bag. All right, so that's it. That's as far as I'm going now.
That's it.
Yep. Okay, that's it. Bye.
All right, take care, guys.